Is it an earthquake? Andrea, I'm serious! Get out!
Why are you laughing?
Of all the chess players.
Yes, Hans. Hans is the best. Hans is my love. I'm in love with Hans.
Boy, Chris is being very...
That's very thorough.
Very thorough.
And there she goes. Oh my god. There she goes. She's trying not to smile. Oh my god.
What's a chess player's favorite TV show?
What?
Pawn Stars. I didn't write these, okay?
Oh god.
You want to say hi chat now that you won?
Yes, hi chat. Where's the
It's home.
Oh!
What I have in my hand here.
Yes.
Little baby noodle.
What have I come down to?
Yeah, I mean with the hair, you could just wear the top and the
Oh my gosh! That's amazing! I don't even know where the rug flew to!
Are we gonna be friends forever, Dina?
Well, I still don't know how real versus how fake your friendship is. So.
Ooh, that's the
Why do
best
you
bird.
Focus up, Alex. You're right. Uh-oh. Are you my opponent?
Back tomorrow. It's okay. It's okay. Ow! Ow! Hey!
You are.
I don't know when I hit 21.
What is this guy doing? Speeding. This is rigged.
Hey, I'm just good.
I'm trying to remember any line of prep I've ever done in my life. I don't remember any of it.
They could have simplified that.
Do we need to do that?
Sing the song.
And this day just players don't have fun. Spread out, nice and easy.
You're getting a red card for destroying the chess set. Can you show your chat the red card that you're getting from the tournament director?
Okay, get out of here. I cannot see you.
Listen to this for 1 second.
Hello, 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 hello.
Guys, why did I say so many hellos? I don't know.
Ta-da! See, my little fist, it fits perfectly. Proof that I punched it.
Блядь, я не могу поверить, это просто пиздец, ну как я могла проиграть? Это просто... Все, пошли все к черту, окей, бай.
No, I blundered my queen. Alright, Nemoster. We're moving away the things that might actually... Alright, you guys keep the water in your mouths, please. 1, 2...
I just want to apologize for how bad that game was. I don't even know what I was doing. I did it again. I won a piece against her again on like move 5. And I was like, there's no way that I lose the US championship because I hang a bishop against Irina twice. Like, I was like, first time, bad enough. And then I was just like, oh my god, it's probably over. And then, you know, when there's no increment, you know.
No, I should have known. No, I hate the kids. I hate kids even more. I hated them before this tournament. Now I really hate them.
Wow, so I might have more points than her.
A full point more than her.
I'm really sad that she's losing, but
You're so getting killed in your sleep.
yeah, I know.
Honestly, guys, can they hear me? Chess sucks.
Alex embracing her villain arc already.
Alex is taking revenge on her chess games right now.
We have another bully in the house, guys. I don't know, is it something about my stream that, like, brings in the bullies? Is it something about my stream that brings in the bullies, or do the bullies just naturally congregate?
Right, Chess Brainiac. You're watching this. There is gonna be a next time.
There
And
is.
your 2900s on chess.com will not stop me. Neither your genius coach Grandmaster Norditsky for taking my revenge.
I'll just be here,
Waiting.
washing away, fading away with
You'll
the
be
winds
okay.
as time and eternity will all do as our last years dwindle away, and you may spend it studying a pointless board game and thinking, was all these hours in your life worth it? In all these hours, you could have written a novel, you could have learned a sport, you could have learned how to swim so you could finally go in the ocean, but no. Instead, here you are again, 21 years old, when you should be thriving at peak, losing to 9-year-olds. Goodbye, chat.
Andrea, for what it's worth, you would kill her at boxing.
I don't want to, that's child abuse!
Sorry. It's okay.
Pizda mercy.
Sorry.
Stop.
Sorry.
Hello, photo chess.
Sorry.
I'm done.
I'm sorry.
It is pumpkin spice flavored. Do you like pumpkin spice?
I love it.
All right. Ah! My Tesla.
Distraction? There's no distractions going on here. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not singing. I'm not singing. No! Yes.
I'm excited, guys. Big reveal time.
How's it?
You like it?
Just her face say that she likes it.
She looks like she's so happy.
What kind of fool? Wait, actually?
Yeah, of course.
I wasn't listening. I just listened to last bit.
Ever listen?
Sorry, I was reading
She
chat.
has the attention span of a squirrel.
I'll make the window smaller for a second. Alright. Okay.
It's fine. It's only taken 10 stops. We haven't gotten anything in.
It's totally fine.
We won't get one.
We're gonna get one.
Okay, you need to get that one in. I believe in you. That's okay. I'm actually happy for you. Wait, no.
9?
It goes. What?
I quit the fucking world championship for this!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Is it an earthquake?
Andrea, I'm serious! Get out!
Why are you laughing?
Of all the chess players.
Yes, Hans. Hans is the best. Hans is my love. I'm in love with Hans.
Boy, Chris is being very,
That's very thorough.
very thorough. Very thorough.
And there she goes. Oh my god. There she goes. She's trying not to smile. Oh my god.
What's a chess player's favorite TV show?
What?
Pawn Stars. I didn't write these, okay?
Oh god.
You want to say hi, chat, now that you won?
Yes, hi chat. Where's the
It's home.
What I have in my hand here.
Yes.
Little baby noodle.
What have I come down to?
Yeah, I mean with the hair, you could just wear the top and the Oh my gosh! That's amazing! I don't even know where the rug flew to!
Are we gonna be friends forever, Dina?
Well, I still don't know how real versus how fake your friendship is. So.
Ooh, that's the
Why do
best
you think
bird.
Focus up, Alex. You're right. Uh-oh. Are you my opponent?
Back tomorrow. It's okay. It's okay. Ow! Dude! Ow! Hey! You are.
I don't know when I hit 21.
What is this
This guy is speeding! This is rigged!
Hey, I'm just good.
I'm trying to remember any line of prep I've ever done in my life. I don't remember any of it.
They could have simplified that.
Do we need to do that?
Sing the song. Booga, 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 and this day just plays on my fuzz. Spread out, nice and easy.
You're getting a red card for destroying the chess set. Can you show your chat the red card that you're getting from the tournament director?
Okay, get out of here. I cannot see you.
Listen to this for 1 second.
Hello, 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 hello.
Guys, why did I say so many hellos? I don't know.
Ta-da! See, my little fist, it fits perfectly. Proof that I punched it.
What? No!
Блядь, я не могу поверить, это просто пиздец, ну как я могла проиграть? Это просто... Все, пошли все к черту, окей, бай.
No, I blundered my queen.
Alright, Nemoster. We're moving away the things that might actually... Alright, you guys keep the water in your mouths, please. 1, 2...
I just want to apologize for how bad that game was. I don't even know what I was doing. I did it again. I won a piece against her again on like move 5. And I was like, there's no way that I lose the US championship because I handed Bishop against Irina twice. Like I was like, first time, bad enough. And then I was just like, oh my god, it's probably over. And then, you know, when there's no increment, you know.
No, I should have known. No, I hate the kids. I hate kids even more. I hated them before this tournament. Now I really hate them.
Wow, so I might have more points than her.
A full point more than her.
I'm really sad that she's losing, but
You're so getting killed in your sleep.
yeah, I know.
Honestly, guys, can they hear me? Chess sucks.
That's it, I'm fucking
Alex embracing her villain arc already.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, Los Angeles. Good evening, Europe. We are ready for the 4th round of the Botez chess camp. And this time, we're having some Botez versus Botez action. Very excited about that. But Even though the scheduled start was 20 minutes ago, I am sorry to report. I am sorry to report that our Canadians are not ready and match fit at 11 a.m. in the morning. The game has been postponed until noon. So it's not the end of the world. It's 40 more minutes for the Alexandra versus Andrea matchup. And before that happens, we're going to have a different matchup, which many people may say is just as interesting because it is one of the players with 2.5 points. It's two-time U.S. women's champion, Jennifer Yu, finding her seat, taking the white pieces, and she is playing against Anna CRAMLING, also with 2.5 points in her first 3 games. This is actually a matchup between 2 of the 3 girls currently in the lead. To be fair, Alexandra played a long game yesterday. She did play a very, very long game yesterday. Unfortunately, couldn't convert her advantage, but it was a great fight against Nemo. Easy win for Sweden. I mean, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a very, very tough one. I'm not sure about easy win for Sweden. I think Jennifer is definitely the favorite. Like I said, 2-time U.S. women's champion. That's quite a box of accomplishments. Off the top of my head, I can't really think about any accomplishments Anna has. She has really good taste in chess commentary. She has Pia doing most of her commentary, and whenever Pia is not available, she hires me. So that's good. But chess accomplishment wise, you know, she's a good player, but I don't think, because it's kind of difficult being the Swedish women's champion when your mom is Pia Kamling. It would be easier winning the US champion. Well, actually, no, maybe not. Must be the Norwegian Swedish beef? No. How dare you say that I am biased against Swedes? Oh, someone copied her accomplishments from Wiki? Let me check that out. Tied for 5th place at the European U18 Girls Championship. Yeah, so that's the 2-time US women's champion against the tied 5th place under 18 European champion. Placement something. Was it not Anna who drew against Hammer? Yeah, okay, I take that back. Okay, so Anna's main accomplishment is making a draw against me in a casual blitz game where she lost on time but used her charms to persuade me into continuing the game. Oh, my eyes are watering. I actually have to go fix my eyes. I will continue with the Swedish bashing afterwards. Okay, I'm back. How many Swedes does it take to switch a light bulb? Crying from the draw? No comment. What a comeback. I mean, I try. Norwegians love Swedes. They consider us like their big brother. Okay, we're having thumbnails being made, pictures being taken, the 15-second handshake. Norwegians love Sweden so much they drive 200 kilometers to shop there. Yeah, but we love that they're so poor compared to us primarily. Norwegians go there because it's like half the price as in Norway. Wow, Robert. I think a Swede is out in full force here. What can you read in the roundabouts in Norway? Please, no more than 3 laps. Okay, Papa Botez is on scene and he gives the go ahead to start the game. He's saying something funny. The girls are laughing. A handshake, less than 20 seconds this time. And we're off. With the white pieces, Jennifer is playing pawn to d4. And Anna is probably going to deploy her Queen's Gambit declined. Interestingly, Jennifer and Anna placed the same opening as Black against d4. So it's going to be interesting to see them fight in something they're both very familiar with. For those of you who arrived late, the Botez sisters are not ready to play just yet. Was that Andrea in the background? She did not look ready, that's for sure. And they will be starting in 30 minutes. Giving them a bit of extra time for either content or breakfast. I'm not sure which. Pawn to c4, this is the Queen's Gambit. Not because you're gambiting a queen, but you're gambiting a pawn on the queen's side of the board. Anna says no thank you, and instead pushes her pawn 1 step forward just to protect the one in the middle. Knight to c3 played by Jennifer. And then I'm assuming Anna is going to go something like bishop to e7 or knight to f6. Anna plays knight to f6. And the traditional way of playing here is to make the trade in the center and then go bishop to g5. But I did have a conversation with Magnus like half a year ago or something. And we were talking about why white players were so eager to make this trade and how we thought it was very, very strange. Because after this trade, you open up for this black bishop to more easily get into the game. So an argument can definitely be made that white shouldn't necessarily be in a rush to make the central trade, even if this has a very good reputation for white. Bishop to g5 puts the pressure in against the knight, and the knight cannot move because of the queen behind it. Indirectly, this is basically putting pressure on the d5 pawn because we're trying to eliminate two of the pieces that are protecting that one. So Anna, she goes pawn to c6, pawn to e3, and now bishop to d6. And Anna confidently gets up from the board, clearly saying, I don't think you're going to move instantly against this idea. Bishop to d6. Is this normal? Am I out of the loop? This seems very uncommon to me. You're not doing anything to deal with the pressure the bishop is exerting down towards the queen. Normally, you want to go bishop to e7 so that these two bishops are kind of canceling each other out. Bishop to d6. I'm not sure I've ever even seen this. I've seen something similar, though. I know something similar where black later on plays pawn to h3, and then they maneuver the knight all the way to the g5 square. But that is a very, very long way to go. Bishop to d3 played by Jennifer. That's very sensible. The bishop now takes control of the f5 square, meaning that the black bishop cannot use that one. And also bishop to g4 would be a big mistake. Even though it's attacking the queen, it's a classic blunder. Because here bishop takes knight, attacks black's queen. And then after the end of all these trades, it turns out that you just lost a knight. Will Andrea play the Jabava against Alexandra? Alexandra has the white pieces. So I'm going to say she's not going to do that. Okay. Anna seems to still be in her preparation. She goes pawn to h6, threatening the bishop. But the bishop keeps its pressure towards the queen. I'm really not sure what Anna is planning to do now. Maybe she's planning to go like this. I'm pretty sure the idea in similar positions is to try and get the knight to g5 and use that knight. By having two knights, it makes the pressure down towards the queen less valuable. Anna just castles. Fair enough. Jennifer now has quite a big decision to make. She needs to decide whether she wants her knight on the e2 square or the f3 square. In general, the knight is better placed the closer to the center it is, and from the f3 square, it's taking control of two central squares. But the advantage of moving the knight to e2 instead is that you can try to use your pawns to push forward in the center of the board. And that makes a really easy to play plan for white. However, normally you play this plan when black has the bishop on e7. And now with the bishop on d6 instead, it makes it a lot easier for black to try and put some pressure down the open file because there's no bishop blocking the rook's path. If you put the knight on e2, you can also push f4 to prevent the knight to g5 plan, says Slumka. I guess, yeah, that could be a point. But in general, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to push the F pawn whatsoever now that black can put that pressure down towards the E3 pawn. Hammer is much calmer and occasionally takes a breath. Is that compared to Benjamin and Anamaya or compared to Pia? My problem is I feel like I already explained the differences between these two knight moves. And frankly, there's nothing else than these two that Jennifer is going to consider. But the truth of the matter is that, of course, there's a lot to that decision that I'm not covering, right? Like very concretely, how do you manage, if you choose to use the E2 square, how are you going to manage to push these pawns forward with the rook always pointing in towards the E3 pawn? But that kind of gritty calculation, I'm going to leave to Jennifer. And then I'm just going to comment on the superficial, obvious stuff. That's just classic human behavior. Going for the quickest path. No, path of least resistance. That's what it's called. Okay, Jennifer plays pretty quickly, I would say. I thought that was a bigger decision than she made it out to be. She was pretty convinced that going knight to e2 was going to be the right choice for her. I kind of like putting the knight on f3 in these positions. But most people have a preference for this because most people like to push these pawns. Another problem, though, is that anytime you go pawn to f3, black will very often go pawn to c5. And then even if black can end up with an isolated pawn in the center, because white has weakened their pawn structure, it makes it super easy for black to get pressure and kind of compensate for the minor inconvenience of the unprotected pawn in the center of the board. Anna is going pawn to a5. Yeah, okay, so I do know this. I do know this. Pawn to a5. The idea is to go knight to a6. I have seen this before. I just got it confused. So the reason she doesn't go knight to a6 immediately is because she's scared about the trade bishop for knight, after which black is left with two isolated doubled pawns on the edge of the board. Doubled pawns are bad because they're on the same file. They kind of block each other's path. Also, it's very difficult for the rook behind to protect the furthermost pawn when there's another pawn standing in the path. Very often we rely on like queens and rooks to protect pawns from behind. And that's one of, I think, the main disadvantages of the doubled pawns, that the most forward one could more easily get into trouble. In addition here, you're very concerned about the white rook potentially pointing down a file where there are no white pawns, blocking the rook's ability to participate. And we can push down towards the c6 pawn, which, sorry, technically this pawn isn't an isolated pawn. What we call this one is a backward pawn, because it does have another pawn next to it, and these two pawns are able to defend each other. The problem is just it's the one further behind that's protecting the key pawn in the middle. Whereas you cannot protect the other way around. So Anna doesn't want to make this trade. Instead, she goes pawn to a5. The idea is to open up for her rook to protect the a6 square so that the knight may go there on the next move without being concerned about bishop trading, because then the rook can recapture. Pawn to a3 from Jennifer. And now knight to a6. Well, actually, knight to a6 didn't happen, but it's like 100% gonna happen soon. And now the plan for black is quite an uncommon one, but the knight is making its way all the way over to the opposite side of the board. What do you think is the probability Andrea would win against Alexandra? I would say the probability is low. I would say 10 to 15%. I think Alexandra is quite a bit stronger player. And in addition, Andrea has had a rough time in the first 3 rounds. So her confidence is going to be somewhat shaken. And hammers like the prep Alexandra is going to use. Well, okay, I shouldn't be talking too much about the prep until the game starts, because I'm sure we got Benzea lurking in chat trying to get some last minute intel. What I will say is that I made a recommendation specifically tailored to be good against Andrea. And Alexandra said, I'm not sure about this. I'm going to make up my own mind later on. Yeah, I'm not sure Alexandra is going to follow my brilliant plan. And this, many people have asked me, how good do you think you can get as an adult beginner? And now, of course, I wouldn't call Alexandra a beginner, but the same principles apply. Because very often I say one of the problems for adults is that adults have the expectation of understanding everything before doing it. Kids are very natural, kind of curious, naturally curious beings about a lot of things in the world. But when it comes to chess, very often they will just listen to their chess coach. Their coach is going to be like, if they do this, you do this. And the kid's like, oh, okay. You know, chess coach, we respect you. We think you're very good at the game. We would not stand a chance against you at any point. The thousands of hours you spent getting good at this game, we respect that, and we're going to listen to your advice, finely honed advice after years of practice. Adults, on the other hand, they're going to be like, oh, why are you doing this? Well, what about this move? Computer says this move is good. And I said, well, but Andrea has never played that. I mean, but maybe your opponent has never played that move in the past. They've always gone for this plan. And this, so I focused on this move because that's the plan. Andrea, I mean, this other, your opponent has prepared and played many, many times previously. And then the adult goes, Yeah, no, I don't know. Computer says this move is good. And then I say, well, she's not going to play that move, is she? And like there's so many different moves she could play. If you're worried about the position after 12 moves, then put some attention into that position and figure out with the computer what to do then. But like the chance of you getting to that position 12 moves deep into the game, it's very unlikely because there are so many different ways your opponent could deviate before that. You're lost? Okay, thank God. This story is unrelated to anyone in particular. Yes, this was a hypothetical. As if Hammer Prep would ever reach 12 moves into a game. I mean, there is a bigger chance of the prep making it 12 moves into the game if she doesn't mess up on move 4 or move 5 or move 6, which all have happened within the past couple of months. She's so focused on move 15 that she's forgetting to look at the first 5 moves. I'm an adult, but I could follow coaches' advices. I don't know, Franny. I think you're overestimating yourself. At some point, you're gonna be why. I don't think you fully understand how carefree kids are. When their parents tell them to do something, they will never do it. When their chess coach tells them to do something, they're like, okay, yes, boss. Which, by the way, might be part of the issue here. Because Papa Botez was the Botez's chess coach. Might not be a great idea. Kids' internal desire to, be annoying to their parents is clashing with the normal yes coach thing. Who was your coach in your childhood? None of my parents knew how to play chess. So I had a coach. He was like the coach at my youth chess club. But in general, I didn't have like one coach in particular. Dina's coach was also her mom. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I guess what are you implying? That my story can't be right because Dina is a massive success. Adults have too high ego and don't get any critics. Wow, Dina in chat supporting me just when I was gonna throw some shade to try and counter a chatter. What timing? Dina, are you saying it's easier to coach the kids than the adults? Dina would know. I don't know. Like, Alexandra is the only kind of person I'm coaching. And that has been a tremendous disappointment. Which makes me think, yeah, maybe I'm not good at this. Dina's coached a lot more people. And therefore she might have a more qualified opinion on this. And I choose to point this out after Dina has already told us that she has the same opinion I do. When someone agrees with you, build up their credentials. I only coach people who do what I say. Wow. Imagine voluntarily wanting Dina as your coach. That's kind of terrifying. But for the right person, it's going to work. So I'm guessing based on these descriptions, Dina, you're not going to call yourself Andrea's coach, right? Because my experience with Andrea has been, yeah. She doesn't necessarily listen to what I'm saying. The cow opening is trash, ruins beginner chess. Are you saying beginners are actually playing the cow? Anna asked me how bad I thought the cow was. And then she showed me some kind of W opening that was complete trash. And I said, yeah, this W opening is probably better than the cow. That's how bad the cow is. W is a Norwegian opening. Yeah, is it virtuals? Because he was very happy when I said the W was better. Oh, virtual does spell it with a W. That makes sense. Why is cow even a topic right now? Some of this commentary is going to be interesting, and a lot of it is just going to be relying on you knowing chess lore, which is not really very new to the channel friendly. I should improve on that. But the cow is an opening invented by our blonde on the right here. And it is the worst opening to be invented in the last decade. That hair is brown, Scandinavian blonde. Man, you should have seen me when at age 25, I realized that all the girls in my middle school had been dyeing their hair and that they were not natural blondes. Boys are stupid. But yeah, this is the classic Scandinavian look. None of the Scandinavians actually have blonde hair. We had it when we were kids and we miss it, and then we color it. I even colored my hair blonde once. I kind of liked it. There are pictures online. Can you show us? I think, yeah, maybe. I can find a link. Let's Google hammer blonde chess. Hammer blonde chess just gives you a lot of pictures of Anna CRAMLING. There are other Scandinavians in the world. Google. Maybe I have to go to my Facebook to find it. It's not like people on Google sort my hair after the look I had. But it was after the Norwegian team finished 5th in the World Team Championship. And I had done horrendously poorly. And I told the others that if we do well, I will dye my hair. Let me see if I can find a photo on my Facebook. Oh, God. I don't know if this is open for public. Yeah, no, it is public. Oh, God. Am I going to do this? Oh. Honestly, I mean, I looked pretty good. I'm not that ashamed. Okay, queen to d3. Jennifer is not being very subtle about what she's trying to do. Her last move, she moved her bishop back so that she could move her queen forward next. Now the queen and bishop are working together, pointing down in the area around black's king. If it was white's move here, white would capture the knight because the knight was defending this square. And then queen comes in and it's checkmate. Now, Anna needs to decide how to deal with this. And frankly, she's got more than one option. She can go pawn to g6, and she did. But honestly, I'm not even sure she really had to do anything. Because frankly, if you go rook to e8, oh, computer doesn't like that. But after rook to e8, like, this is not a threat. If you take, check, king moves, like, this queen is doing nothing here. Apparently, the computer thinks this is good for white. But, like, anytime you give this check, the king just moves away. So I don't see why this would be a massive problem for black. In any case, computer seems to think it is somewhat of a problem, and Anna chose to deal with it. She went pawn to g6, stops the checkmate threat, but now her pawn is no longer protecting the knight. Maybe that could become a problem. Jennifer plays pawn to f3. Basically, Jennifer really needs to be able to meet bishop to f5, trying to point in against the queen and the bishop. She needs to be able to push her pawn up if that were to happen. And now I guess she's going to push the pawn up next, pretty much no matter what. This is moderately awkward for Anna. I'm not actually quite sure how to deal with this, because the pawn is going to push forward towards the e5 square very quickly. Maybe you go pawn to b6, and then you can go bishop to a6. Ah, no, but then the queen is pointing in here as well. For some reason, the computer really didn't like this square for the queen. Ah, because then you have knight to g4, attacking the queen and attacking the bishop. Very clever. But if you go queen d2, you have that same idea. And you're threatening to push forward in the center. Yeah, this actually requires some thinking here. Pawn to e4 followed by pawn to e5. It's a very straightforward plan for white and kind of difficult for black to deal with. I guess we could still go knight to e6 like we were planning. But the thing is, when the pawn pushes forward, we can't go knight to g5 to block this bishop, because then pawn to e5 is going to be a fork. Okay, I'm expecting Anna to think about this for quite some time. And fortunately, by focusing on the chessboard for a little while, I did miss out on the comments to my little hair blonde. You look like a 90s pop star. Honestly, maybe I should have been looking at the replies to my picture. 90s pop star, that's pretty good. Please color your hair again. Okay. Jon Ludvig Timberlake? Hey! I didn't realize I was going to get that good response. Maybe I should. In any case, oh God, chat, you've inflated his ego more. What can I say? There's always room for improvement. We are approaching the top of the hour, and I have been promised that at the top of the hour, we will have Botez versus Botez. But judging by the fact that the production is doing a one camera stream, I am sorry to say, I guess it's not happening anytime soon. Oh, two camera stream, but completely empty. I was told, oh no, they postponed their game. They're gonna start at noon instead. That's what I was told. But yeah, noon plus the normal 20-minute delay. I guess that's what's happening. Rumor has it you will comment on Anna's participation in the Olympiad. Is that true? I mean, I assume I will always be also be looking at Pia's games. But yes, that is true. So I need to keep the Swedish bashing at an acceptable level in order not to hurt my relationships. Pia is Anna's mother. She is the only female grandmaster in the Nordic countries. And she was one of the first female grandmasters in the world. Okay, we got Botez's in the house with a camera crew right behind. The game is about to start. And I am super, super excited to see the first move. Because I have recommended to Alexandra that she should play the king's pawn to begin with. I'm not sure if she's ever played that in a competitive game, but I have found weaknesses in Andrea's repertoire. And I am very excited to see whether she follows my advice or maybe she once again says, no, I'm not going to do what you're saying. Alex never played. I'm sure she played it online a couple of times, but I'm not sure she played it over the board. But Andrea will use Hammer Sicilian prep against it. If she does, she might win the game, Zug. But the last thing I heard from Andrea was that this line you're recommending, it's too complicated. I played it 3 times without studying it, and I lost all times. So I don't like it. And then I tried saying, maybe you should study it before you play it, and then you're going to get a good feeling about playing it. But I think she just gave it up. I did mention in my opening file to Alexandra that I had recommended something tricky against this on Andrea's behalf, but she didn't like my recommendation, which I must say is starting to become quite a familiar feeling with these Botez sisters. Dina's right. You should only take students that do what you say. None of this democracy kind of thing. Okay, we lost the girls. We were so close. I looked away for a second, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened. Are smartphones allowed in playing hole in FIDE tournaments? It depends on what you mean by FIDE tournaments. If you mean tournaments that FIDE, the World Chess Federation themselves organize, then the answer is no. But if you mean like any FIDE-rated tournament, the organizer has, they are allowed to make their own rules. I'm pretty sure. Because you're gonna have different rules at a influencer event, and you're gonna have different rules in a club event. Playing on Thursday evenings, coming straight from work, you might not have the same need for competitive things compared to the actual World Chess Championship. YouTube chat is constructing hammer voodoo dolls. Wow. Can they do something? I've felt a kink in my neck. Like it's been a bit unpleasant for the past. Well, it's okay now, but a couple of days ago, I was sitting in this TV studio in Norway, and it was like it was hurting quite a bit. So if they could just massage that part. Kink, yeah, no, that might be a translation, an unfortunate translation of a Norwegian word. Let's just say the Norwegian kink is not the same as the English kink. My bad. It's the same? Oh, never mind. Did Andrea lose already? I don't know. They were at the board and then they left the board. And I thought the fact that they were at the board gave me a license to give some secret intel from the preparation. But now Bensea is furiously texting Andrea to tell her about the doom coming her way. Why did they come and leave? I'm just the commentator. If you're looking for a mind reader, I'm not your guy. The one they did was not per standards. They have to do a small video intro. Wow. Oh, my problem is that my most basic instinct is just to throw around shade and sarcasm. So when Papa Botez says the first intro video was not up to standard, I have to work so hard not to go, and that's saying something for the Botez channel. Oh, I'm gonna retire as a chess commentator soon. Life is good, but my retirement is probably also going to be based on the fact that I'm going to be blacklisted everywhere. Why is Jennifer looking at the board from a distance? Maybe she's thinking about the game without like the stress of actually sitting there. Or maybe she's just making sure that she'll not lose that much time when Anna does make and end up making her move. I think in general, it's a good idea during the game to walk around and kind of rest your mind a little. But when you do that, you're also very prone to lose quite a bit of time because it takes sometimes a minute or two or three for you to realize that your opponent has made a move. So partly she could be kind of like thinking, but partly she could also just kind of be resting, but making sure that she's ready to step back into the game immediately when Anna makes her move. Based on the fact that she returned to the game right now with quite the game face, focus face, I'm gonna say that she was actually thinking about something, about a plan for her opponent, and she was trying to figure out how to deal with it if Anna played that plan. Okay, attempt number 2. We're 1 hour, 10 minutes late. We had an attempt number 1 ruined by the intro video not being up to Botez standards. But here we go. Second try. And we lost Andrea. And she's back. Okay, let the acting begin. Andrea putting in her earbuds. No distractions for this game. Those faces are taking me 15 years back in time. Wow, Papa Botez. Do we have some stories? Okay, handshake. Just a couple of seconds, and the clocks have started. The mind games are afoot. Oh my God! And look at Andrea. Alexandra does play pawn to e4, and Andrea just looks straight into the camera and starts laughing. Okay, she plays pretty quickly. Pawn to c3. The Alapin. Who could have come up with such a tricky idea to target Andrea's tendency of going bishop g6, bishop g6 and bishop g7. Andrea goes pawn to d5. Damn it. Alexandra already out of prep. This is not great. I was looking over all of Andrea's internet blitz games. She never played good moves against the Alapin. I don't know why she always used the silly pawn g6, bishop g7. I'm very, very unhappy about this. Takes, and now d4. But this is kind of shaky. Alexandra is playing an opening she's never played before. And this is... I mean, it's a decent opening for white, but it's decent when you know what you're doing. And it's a lot more decent if Andrea just played the way she's used to playing. Oh, this is not great. I blame the coach. Is Bensea in chat? Were they predicting pawn to e4? That would be pretty epic. I swear she always played g6, bishop g7. Damn it. Because I was suggesting, right? I considered recommending knight to f3 and then c3. Because I've told Andrea in the past that I think her way of playing against this is a bad idea. But I got greedy, and because I saw what does she play if you go c3 immediately, and she played g6 here as well. And I got greedy. I wanted to get the best possible version where you haven't committed your knight to f3 early on. Okay. D5 played, takes, pawn to d4, and now g6. So Andrea stays true to her g6 setups. But frankly, for some reason, I did not consider this g6 at this particular moment. This is just very, very, very bad prep. Okay, knight to f3, bishop to g7, I guess. It should be better for white, but Andrea is probably in her prep or something, and Alexandra is freestyling every move. That being said, I kind of think Alexandra is good enough to freestyle openings very, very well. She just doesn't normally have the guts to do so. And now she's kind of being forced into doing something that she's not necessarily comfortable with, but which I think she can do really, really well. Dina prepped her for sure. You think so, Grumpy? She got her all-time highs on chess.com doing all random openings. I know it's different, but speaks to your point. That's interesting, Gerber. I assume you're talking about Alexandra, because I feel like she's very close to her openings. She has her openings and she wants to play those. But the times I've seen her kind of experiment playing some new things, I feel like Alexandra's coped with it pretty well. Okay, bishop to g7. Bishop pointing in towards the center of the board. Part of our prep, I thought maybe Andrea would capture in the center early, but even though white then ends up getting an isolated pawn in the center, capturing in the center is a bad idea because it enables white to use the c3 square and then attack the queen. So you definitely don't want to be making this trade too early. And Andrea's been good about keeping that tension. Frankly, I have no idea what you're supposed to do here as white. I'm guessing bishop to e3 is a decent move because it threatens to capture this pawn. And so you can then maybe force black into making the trade. And after the trade is made, then you can attack the queen. Alexandra goes for pawn takes c5. I kind of like that move. I kind of like that move a lot. There were some similar positions where you were supposed to do that. And now after queen recaptures, you get to attack the queen again. And then as the queen retreats, maybe you can go with your knight up and try and go after this queen yet again. Ooh, although here you can maybe sacrifice your bishop. And if the bishop is captured, queen comes in, check on the king, attacking the knight. Somehow computer thinks this is good for white, but white just lost 2 pawns. I don't know why it would be good for them. Knight a6, knight b5, one of the ideas. Says chat. I definitely, yeah, I know about that idea, but the problem is once you put your knight out here, then white can, black can capture in the center. Because now after the recapture, you no longer have the knight coming in to attack the queen. Andrea played a lot better version of this than she has in the past. Right now, she has equalized out of the opening, but now it's just an equal opening with chances for both sides. And part of the problem in preparing for today's game is that both of them kind of play some of the same openings, and both of them have been very dependent on one of their good coaches' opening analysis. And of course, when I say one of their good coaches, I mean Benzea. Because Alexandra looked at my ideas for white openings and she said, no, I'd rather just do whatever Benzea recommends. So when it comes to Alexandra's black openings, I am your guy. I am in charge of the black openings. But when it comes to the white openings, it's all Benzea. And that's a bit unfortunate because Benzea is in charge of every Andrea opening there is. So it becomes very tricky preparing for today's game, seeing as how they kind of have the same coach. When Alexandra has the white pieces and Andrea has the black pieces. Dina was not happy with Benzea's opening ideas for Andrea. I mean, I proofread the white openings. Obviously, I would not allow Alexandra to play plainly bad things. But I looked at the white openings that Benzea was recommending her, and I gave it my thumbs up. Doesn't the white side usually go to the lesser rated player? No. So at the start of the tournament, there's a drawing of lots. And basically, the only thing there is that one of the players, well, since there's 7 rounds, some people are getting 3 whites and some people are getting 3 blacks and 4 whites. But the distribution of the colors is random beyond the balancing part of making sure everyone gets approximately the same amount of whites and blacks. Why can't they do 14 rounds then? Because we have a life? I don't know. These are busy people. I'm not busy at all, of course. So I wouldn't mind 14 rounds. Would you watch 14 straight days of chess? Yes, 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 no, yes, yes, no, yes, yes, yep. With you, question mark? I don't know how to interpret that, Nico. We'll put that in the suggestion box. Next time around, people want 14 rounds. I'm sure the girls are going to be thrilled. Imagine if there's one player having a rough tournament, doubling the length that they have to survive without throwing themselves into the off the cliffs. Maybe I shouldn't be doing suicide jokes. Chess Camp 2.0 confirmed. We'll see. Is Norwegian humor dark? Yes. I would say so. It's pretty well known that the Scandinavians are a bit of a, you know, when you have experienced a certain amount of Scandinavian winters, you cannot help but have a bleak outlook on life. That being said, I did see on the weather report that next week, Los Angeles is going to have 40 degrees. So there are benefits for us Northerners as well. We have good summers and somewhat dark winters. Update the board. Okay, bishop to e7. Played by Anna. I like this move. Because now, basically, Jennifer was very clearly saying my plan is to push forward in the center. But if she does do that now, it allows for a trade to happen and then pawn to c5, challenging white's control in the center. And then after pawn to d5, Anna can then go, I was going to say knight g4, but that's probably not good. Anna can go, actually, I was going to say knight g4, but then after the trade of bishops, white can just get a fork. So that's not good. But I'd really like to put this knight on the e5 square. Oh, you can go knight takes d5. I'm so stupid. I even did my puzzle rush today. Knight takes d5, captures the central pawn, and also opens up an attack against the white bishop on the edge of the board. And if the bishop captures the bishop, then the knight manages to retreat and escape the threat, giving black an extra pawn. So yeah, I like this. Bishop to e7 is basically saying, I saw you wanting to go with your pawn forward and do a double attack on my bishop and on my knight. And Anna is taking preventative measures against that, making sure that the bishop is not in that vulnerable position. In the meantime, I'm really interested in whether Alexandra ends up playing this knight to a3 move, because that could make things very interesting right here. Knight to a3 blunders 2 pawns, but the computer says that the 2-pawn blunder is actually to white's advantage. The bishop sacrificing itself in order to put the queen in a position to give check on the king while threatening the knight. And I'm genuinely confused what it is white should do here to get an advantage. Instead, Alexandra plays queen b3, which is not great. Yeah, but I know why she's doing it, because there was some variation where I was saying here, Andrea will probably go g6. And the computer liked some idea with queen b3, bishop c4, attacking towards f7. But that's very different than the situation we have here. Also, honestly, queen b3 might just be that she realized that after knight a3, you can go bishop takes c3. Because she might just want the queen to defend against that threat. I'm still curious why the computer feels this is better for white. Is it knight in between? Knight in between, and then I guess bishop, no. I'm genuinely completely confused why the computer thinks it's okay that white just lost 2 pawns. I get rook c1 maybe? No. Knight c4? No. Queen c2? No. I'm running out of move suggestions. Bishop b5? Bishop b5. But what if you just block? Takes? No. If you're not going to take, like, what are you going to do? This bishop is under attack. Queen e2? No. Rook b1? No. Yeah, for some reason, ooh, rook c1. Ooh, rook c1, that's a cool idea. And now if the bishop is captured, the rook will come in with a check on the king, force the king out, and then knight to c4, attacks with the queen against the king while the knight attacks the queen. Okay, this was just ridiculously complicated. So I think in general, it's a good thing that Alexandra did not play knight to a3. Because even if the computer thinks it's an interesting attempt, it's based on some very freaky attacking moves where you just play on with precision, being down 2 pawns. So queen to b3, I'm going to say that protects this pawn so that you can join with the knight later on. Andrea is going to go knight f6 because she's going to castle. And then Alexandra is going to go knight a3. Alexandra is going to go knight b5. And this is kind of problematic because the knight is attacking the queen, and if the queen just moves, well, then the knight can capture the pawn on the side of the board. So I guess Andrea here would need to go to a5 to keep this pawn defended. But yeah, this is probably fine. And then maybe knight to d2, trying to chase the queen again. It becomes an interesting position. Andrea's definitely had a good opening, though. My idea of getting an advantage because Andrea refuses to play, or rather, she has some tendencies in her openings that she shouldn't have. Yeah, that was a massive miss on my part. And even though she still has that tendency to fianchetto the bishop, but she made the right choice to advance in the center first. And frankly, I'm feeling kind of silly that I didn't spend more time thinking that this is the area where she was going. But she hasn't played in Internet Blitz. She's always played this. She's very frequently played pawn to g6, which is just good for white. But yeah, this is a good approach from her. One of the advantages of playing the Sicilian in general is that you have one extra central pawn compared to your opponent. So here, white has no pawns in the center anymore. Both of them got traded for black pawns on separate files. And that means black is the one that could have an advantage here due to the extra pawn being able to control in the center of the board. I'm already looking forward to the interview with Alex after the game. Are you trying to get me fired? My opening plan was definitely poor. Okay, bishop to e6, played by Andrea. Just immediately targeting the queen. And the queen gets no rest. The good news is that the bishop is not particularly well placed here. Well, the good news for Alexandra. So that bishop could, in the future, be targeted by white's pieces. But the problem at the same time is that if the queen moves to give a check on the king, that bishop can move and counteract the check. Instead, Alexandra plays bishop b5. I like this move. I like this a lot. Because now if Andrea interjects with her knight, the queen can move without giving the bishop a good place to run away to. And then this bishop could be targeted by the knight afterwards. Did you see Alexandra's game with Nemo yesterday? Yeah, I did. I'm very glad I didn't stay awake to try and catch the end of it. Because they played for a very long time, didn't they? Alexandra was so close to getting a big, big win there. Imagine if she beat Nemo with the black pieces. That would be huge. Why the knight there to d7 instead of c6? Knight to c6 is probably fine. Probably better. if I'm honest. I was just thinking then white can try and target the knight on the diagonal. But like I was explaining, black kind of wants to move that bishop anyway. And this is a very good formation. The fact that Alexandra is only up by 5 minutes, 8 moves into the game, that's a bit of a shocker. And it really emphasizes how this opening has been a success for Andrea and not much so for Alexandra. Alexandra has been an absolute beast in playing very quickly the last couple of months, and Andrea has been struggling with her time management. But here, Andrea is not being faced by her opponent playing an unexpected opening, and she's played very sensibly in response. And now I think Andrea is a bit better here as black. The last 2 moves were not optimal for Alexandra. She placed her queen on a square where it's easy for black to target it. And now after bishop to b5, the knight can move in between. And one of my concerns here for Alexandra is that normally you want to have your knight move up to that b5 square and try and create some trouble for the queen. But since you now committed your bishop there, you're not going to get your normal development of that piece. It feels very comfortable for black. Anna's time is stressing you. I assure you that Anna being down half an hour, this is not the first time that's happened. But I think part of the reason why the time disparity is becoming as big as it is right now, it's because Jennifer has done quite a good job of creating unorthodox problems in the position. So I guess the main question right now is whether knight to e6 is a good move. If it is a good move, then Anna should just play it pretty quickly. But you need to make some calculations about what happens after pawn to e4. And then takes, pawn to c5, trying to challenge for central control. But here, white can just counter pressure the knight. And that's very, very bad news. And also bad news is the fact that Jennifer provoked us into playing this g6 move, which means that now the rook and bishop working together against the f6 knight, that's much more of a concern right now than if the pawn had been one step further back and given that knight extra protection. So, yeah, it's a quest on how to organize your pieces. And Anna doesn't have like obvious solutions to what she's dealing with. She probably wants to try and trade off these bishops. So knight to h5 should be quite a good move for black, trying to make a trade between the bishops. But the problem is the bishop will then just retreat and try and facilitate the e4 pawn push. And you can try to go like f5, trying to take control of the e4 square, trying to discourage this pawn push. But frankly, if you do stuff like that, it's also just going to provoke your opponent into wanting to push the pawn even more, because now the queen and bishop working together is going to put some serious pressure in towards the pawns that they've been provoked forward and are now not protecting the king to the same degree that we kind of expect from our kingside pawns. So basically, I think what we're looking at is that white is going to be able to achieve this pawn to e4 break and thereby kind of make some dangerous advances through the center of the board. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a massive problem, but it's definitely a little bit uncomfortable. You have to make some assessments and like, can you go pawn to c5 here? Yeah, you end up getting this pawn that can only be defended by pieces because there are no adjacent pawns. So the knight and queen then has to be defensive pieces, keeping this guy safe. And then you make the argument that you're trying to create counterplay in towards the white central pawn. But getting that counterplay would be a lot easier if this bishop wasn't that so good as a defender. And that's why we kind of want to trade these bishops off. Because this bishop is just so good to just defend everything as the pawns are being pushed forward. I really don't know what Anna should do here. Somewhat uncomfortable position. How crazy would it be to go pawn to b5? Not crazy at all, says the computer. Maybe this is the way to play. It looks very ugly to me because it creates a weakness along the c file. You always want to be attentive to what your most backward pawn, the pawn that's furthest back, the one lending protection to all your other guys. You want to keep that one safe. But here at the same time, you want to be able to face this pawn to e4 by going pawn to b4. You want to be able to create some counter threats on white's center and try and force this knight to retreat. And then you can bring the bishop out, and now we're talking. The queen has to move, and then knight to g4. Attacking the queen, attacking the bishop. Yeah, the knight can be captured, but suddenly black is sitting here with the bishop pair, and those bishops are pointing in towards the white position, and white has been forced to moving one of their pawns out towards the edge of the board and away from controlling the center. I'm really liking this b5 move, but that's a very, very committal decision to make. One of them should put a rook to the d file in Alexandra versus Andrea. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. In general, you want to put your rooks on a file which doesn't have any pawns. That's when the rooks manage to optimize their value. But Alexandra is not in a position to get her rook to the d file anytime soon. First off, she's going to have to watch out for her queen. Queen moves, continues the pressure down towards the king. Andrea is almost certainly going to play pawn to a6. She's trying to put pressure on the bishop, but the bishop doesn't actually have to move right now because there's some... if the bishop is captured, so say Alexandra castles here. And then if the bishop is captured, then queen takes rook. So the threat against the bishop is not really a threat. But it's still going to be important because as both players develop their pieces, Andrea is going to manage to give protection to her corner rook while doing moves she kind of wanted to do anyway. And then Alexandra is just going to have to back up. So a very equal position. But if I had to choose, I would rather be Andrea, have the black pieces. Okay. We have some more news about today's schedule. It's very, very unusual. But remember how we've had one pair of games starting at 11 a.m. and then another pair starting at 3 p.m.? Well, we are shuffling it around today. We are experimenting with different formats. And today, we're going to have the next two games start in 10 minutes. So a refresher to all of you who may not have the details at hand. The two remaining games today is Dina Belenkaya with the white pieces against Nemo. And then we have Linda with the white pieces against Jules. And we'll have all four games in action in 10 minutes plus delay. Can you comment four at the same time? No. That seems exhausting. We're gonna have the main focus on these two games. Knight to f6 from Andrea. Andrea realizes that pawn to a6 doesn't even threaten anything. So she's just going to prioritize her development and get castled. Also note Andrea's time management. She's making a lot quicker decisions than what she usually does. Andrea's looking really good in this game so far. Is tomorrow a rest day? Yes. Unfortunately, tomorrow there is no chess happening. Well, there is chess happening, but not from the chess camp in LA. Rest day and content day. I'm not sure what we're calling it. But the next round after this one will be on Monday, 11 a.m. Who's winning on both boards? Jennifer has the advantage against Anna. Anna did end up playing knight to e6, but I'm really curious how she's planning to deal with the pawn to e4. Because normally, whenever white goes pawn to e4, you want to strike back with pawn to c5. And let's just say the eval bar was not too happy with that. So knight to e6, I think, is actually quite a serious mistake. It doesn't really address the concerns we had in the position on how to deal with white advancing their pawns. So Jennifer has a nice advantage in that game. And in the other game, despite following coach's advice, Alexandra with the white pieces is worse against her very motivated sister. Andrea, so far this tournament, had lost three games, sorry. But somehow she's managed to muster her energy for this big matchup. And she's played with good determination. She's had a good opening, and she's had a good pace. Are rest days really necessary in chess? Asks Endgame Clown. Personally, when I become the chess dictator, I'm going to take away all the rest days at the top level. I think chess tournaments are definitely tiring, incredibly so. But at the same time, I feel like that's part of the game. Like, what would Tour de France be if they had a rest day after every leg? Oh, you had a tough bicycle race. Oh, let's rest up before you go again. To be fair, Tour de France still has rest days, but it's like 3 in 22 days. And the physicality it demands is a lot worse than chess. So I think chess players should suffer more physically. Trust me, chess players already suffering mentally, but I think they should also suffer physically, and we should remove the rest days. Two games a day. Let's not do 2 games a day. That's a bit much. But letting them have 1 game a day and then no rest days, I think that seems fine to me. What would you say is the hardest or most difficult to understand part of the game? Opening, middle game, or end game? I mean, middle game is the most difficult. But that's just a mathematics question. The middle game has way more possibilities than most other things. It's a lot more different things you need to know. Hammer, I guess you're against the Magna School of shorter games. I am against the classical world championship being shorter. I mean, actually, I'm not against it being shorter games. Because right now, the classical world championship is like 7-hour games, and the normal tournament time control is like 5-hour games. It's the time control we're playing with here. That's like the normal time rules. But in the world championship, they added 2 hours more thinking time for no apparent reason. So I think the world championship should be played at the same time control that's normal in every tournament or most tournaments. But I don't believe that there should be like rapid games and so on in the classical world championship, unless you're in a tiebreaker, in which case I feel like it's fine, because then they got 12 or 14 chances to get ahead and they failed. So then rapid deciding that I'm fine with. But I also do think that we could do a lot more with like the rapid speed chess format in general. So right now we have a 5-day world championship between Christmas and New Year's. And that's fine. It's a good tradition. Norwegian television loves it. But we could do more. Like, why shouldn't the Blitz World Championship be 2 days? it could be way longer. And it could be like match play with the 16 best people who qualify after there's like, so you could have like a 2-day world championship qualifier. And then you could have like even bigger blitz matches later on. I guess essentially what I'm trying to say is that you could make it a bigger event, the Blitz World Championship and the Rapid World Championship, rather than having more Blitz and Rapid in the Classical. Hammer has no reaction. Hammer's not looking at the cameras. Hammer's deep in his own thoughts, answering the questions for the chat. I got to stop answering questions in order to be able to follow. Is that like the perfect Mean Girls look, or what is that? Trying to hide your emotions? Is that like a very young Cruella de Vil? She wants to be a Scandinavian. She looks more confident in the wig. Honestly, I mean, she's been looking confident all day. I genuinely feel bad for Alexandra, who got such rubbish advice from her coach. Because this opening has been a tremendous success for Andrea. And Alexandra has been knocked out of her confident play. Normally, Alexandra would have a massive time advantage by this point, but they're actually equal on time. Anna's burning all her time. Well, Anna maybe should have thought about a different plan before allowing this pawn to e4. Ooh, Anna goes knight to h5. I really like this move. Very, very good move by Anna. Maybe she's fine. Computer's not that big of a fan, but I think this looks pretty okay. The point here is that the knight is headed for the f4 square, where it will attack both the queen and the knight and protect the pawn and stuff like that. So I think, well, first off, the bishops are now threatening each other. And if there's a trade and then pawn takes pawn in the center, then the knight will come forward, attack the knight, attack the queen, attack the pawn. Actually, now that I think about it, what happens here if takes, queen up? Then queen to g5 threatens checkmate and provides further protection towards the d5 pawn. There's some tricky variations to calculate now. So what if takes, queen back? Ooh, actually... Yeah, no, I was liking Anna's idea, but it was definitely pending whether she was about to lose a pawn. And after queen to d2, because the queen is pointing towards the pawn on h6, White is actually winning a pawn here. Because the knight has to capture the pawn in the center. But then we just trade and then capture on h6. Yeah, Anna is losing a pawn. The general idea of using your knights in this way to get to the f4 square, it's a good idea. But of course, you cannot do it if it ends up losing you a very important pawn. And right now, that's what's about to happen. The trade between the bishops will lure the queen away from the protection of the d5 pawn. And then when pawn captures, Anna was very much relying on this knight being able to counterattack in the center. But as it turns out, and to give Jennifer a lot of credit for this, Jennifer moved her bishop back and queen up earlier to put both of these pointing down towards the black king. That's what provoked Anna into playing g6, which in turn is the reason that the queen can now try and target the h6 pawn on the side of the board. Hammer had blonde hair when he was younger, so I think Andreas dressed as a young Hammer. And that's probably a good idea. That could explain why her game is going so well for her so far. Okay, Jennifer has made the trade between the bishops. And now after pawn takes pawn, Anna is just going to be down a pawn for no good reason. Did Hammer show the picture yet? I posted a link on Facebook. No one has told me I look like Kevin Owens, no. But I've gotten a lot of Seth Rogen and what's the other guy? Jonas something. Jonah Hill. I'm never going to be able to unsee Seth Rogen now. Oh. Give us that Seth laugh. I just got to punch myself in the stomach while doing it. Was that good or not? The only Seth Rogen I've seen is when he did a lie detector with some girl, the South African one. And he had a bit of a yeah, peculiar attribute to his voice. Hammer, don't pretend you don't know her. Of course I know her. I just, names off the top of my head is not my greatest. I know Jonah Hill as well. I just can't remember his name in the moment. Okay, we're gonna take a little break from the chat, from the laughs, from my misery of giving Alexandra bad advice, which has now made her be down on time against Andrea Botez. This is the first time Andrea's up on time in months. But yeah, I will go cry about my bad decision making, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. I guess we're not going to break anyway. Never mind. I cracked. I could have just sat there for a couple of minutes, but I cracked. No break. That's fine. I guess Vila's busy, not listening to the stream. Should Alexandra castle? Yes. She should castle and then get the knight out. The problem is Alexandra realizes that she's probably worse in this position. And she's probably spending half her time thinking about what to do and half her time cursing herself for listening to me. It's not a great day for fans of the older Botez. Andrea was up on time against Anna. Yeah, this is true. Not this early on in the game, though. Surely this isn't bad enough. She should be all that concerned. Yeah, I don't know. But I guess I'm extra concerned because of how concerned she is, right? Because like she's been doing so well playing with that super confidence, making all her moves very quickly. And the fact that Alexandra is no longer making quick moves, quick decisions, it speaks to her being very unhappy with the current situation. Okay, we gotta move. She castled. But I'm very concerned about her time.